Hello, it's the Underdog here, and I want to talk to you about Duck Hunt Duo's KO moves. Now, it's often been remarked in tournaments and online discussions that Duck Hunt Duo has no kill options.
That's the problem with Duck Hunt, is that he really doesn't have any good kill options.
But is this really true? We know that Duck Hunt Duo is plagued by the dreaded slide glitch on all of his smash moves, but is it really the case that Duck Hunt Duo players have no KO options? Being someone who regularly mains Duck Hunt Duo in matches almost every day, this was a problem I regularly encountered. Yes, smash moves are unreliable. Yes, smash moves do have a tendency not to KO. Yes, they are slow and highly punishable, but I've devised a technique that addresses this problem called branch zoning. I'll explain what branch zoning is in a moment, but first I want to talk about how Duck Hunt Duo is used. A lot of commentators and non-users of Duck Hunt Duo will remark that it's a stage control character and campy, and some Duck Hunt Duo users believe this, simply because it's repeated often enough. But as a mainer of Duck Hunt Duo myself, I have to entirely disagree. On the note that I've won a fair share of matches without projectiles for stage control, as you can see for this channel's no projectiles video list. Instead, I feel Duck Hunt Duo is actually an opportunistic character, who must use moves to create openings and opportunities for him to strike. Indeed, playing a campy style is a huge mistake, because all it takes is some speed and aggression and it's defeated. To coin a phrase, Duck Hunt Duo has to be all up in that hizzy, playing opportunistically aggressive and only defensive when necessary. Indeed, I consider Duck Hunt Duo to be more akin to an aerial character than a projectile one, because well-placed aerial strikes can disrupt and even KO an opposing character, but more importantly, I consider Duck Hunt Duo to be fast. This might come as a surprise to most people, but if you generally drop frisbees, yes, I know it's called clay pigeon, but I love to call it frisbees, and smash moves from your techniques and pick up heavier aerial usage and grabs, you can move with great speed and essentially almost match wits with the like of Greninja, Marth, and Roy in terms of speed. But usually the main difficulty isn't laying down enough damage, but KOing her. So to do that, we need branch zoning. So what is branch zoning? Branch zoning, which I also sometimes call spiral zoning, is where, as Duck Hunt Duo, you make moves that progressively reduce the amount of free space your opponent has to move, while simultaneously increasing the odds that you might land a hit on the opponent. This can include moves that do just more damage, or KO moves. It's called branch zoning because essentially you attempt to land a hit and then you branch off onto the next move without checking to see if the earlier one succeeded, and attempt to land another hit while simultaneously zoning the opponent with less and less space. I sometimes call it spiral zoning because Duck Hunt Duo almost spirals around the opponent, especially during the down air into forward smash technique. To the casual observer, branch zoning will appear to be just a form of combo locking or a true combo, sometimes even considered a read or a hard read, but in actual reality, you are attacking almost blind to the move that the opponent will do and are simply using a brute force probabilistic approach. So, let's take a look at a video that gives us an example of branch zoning. Firstly, as a low damage move. As you can see, I do an up air, which to any observer is very likely to fail. Some would cite this as a reason not to do that move. But doing the move is important because as a result we can determine where Captain Falcon is going. Notice, each if indicates a branch. We know that if he goes low, he lands in the up air, which interrupts his move, creating us an opening. If he goes high, we can only go forwards or backwards. If he goes backwards, he's near the edge and primed for a forward air or dash attack. If he goes forward, which is the most likely, we can roll dodge backwards and catch him in a multi-jab hit, or even a grab. you'll notice that I repeat the same up air a second time after knocking him away. This is, again, branch zoning. Captain Falcon this time goes backwards after learning that forwards doesn't work. We have now successfully zoned Captain Falcon closer to the edge. Naturally, in this vulnerable near the edge position, most players expect a rush and are prepared to counteract it, classically by an aggressive attack. Instead, as part of branch zoning, we remain stationary and get ready for the counteraction. We run backwards, then double back and do a down air. To most players this will appear as a successful read, but just to prove that it isn't, I'll jump cut to a part where I use the exact same technique again, and you'll see that it fails. Back to the Falcon video, and as you can see, I've converted the down air into a successful pullback and forward smash. But what about projectiles? Here's another example where I use a layered projectile setup to force Falcon to air dodge or take damage, in order to set him up for a catch landing. Notice it's a similar approach to the up air from earlier. Now that you understand what branch zoning is, what about the KOs, I hear you say? Here's an example of what a failed KO branch zoning attempt is like, and this shouldn't put you off because this is what most KO branch zoning attempts will look like. Most players would be disheartened at that. But with Duck Hunt Duo, KOing is a game of probabilities, and it's not how many times you fail, but how many times you try. It's almost like a job application, where you have to apply to many jobs before you get one. If you don't try, you don't get. You have to remember it, as every single one of those moves is a potential KO. As a result of all the remarks about Duck Hunt Duo having no kill modes and being weak and being campy, I feel Duck Hunt Duo players have been psyched into believing that their own character is weak and campy, and therefore don't try to fight as aggressively or as confidently as they should do. To inspire you, here are a bunch of branch zoning KOs done by Duck Hunt Duo. Notice how even in some cases where the moves don't hit, the opponent, out of fear and anticipation of the move, has screwed up their recovery.